Hey, what's up guys? This is Audie from ShastryNation, and today we're going to be talking about the types of cells. Okay, so now that you're back from the intro, let's go ahead and talk about the two types of cells. So really there are two main types of cells. There are prokaryotes and there are eukaryotes. Okay, so these are the main two types of cells. So let's talk about each cell. Actually, let's just talk about the differences first. Well, the main differences. So prokaryotes. One second. So prokaryotes I'll have in red. So this will be in red, and the eukaryotes I'll have in green. Okay, so prokaryotes. First of all, prokaryotes are bacteria. So they're in bacteria. Hey, and this is coming from a newly bought tablet, so tell me if you like it. And eukaryotes are in cells, sorry, wrong color. Eukaryotes are in cells that make up us. And like this also, usually eukaryotes are multicellular, so it would make up like plants, animals, and other organisms that have more than, that are made up of multiple cells. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about both of these types of cells. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about both of these types of cells more in depth. So, okay. Let's go ahead and get a new color. There you go. There you are. Okay. That's it. Okay. So, really, let's talk about, first of all, let's talk about prokaryotes, I guess. Since it is the least, it's the less complicated one among the two. At least, I think. So really, you can tell by the name, some of its characteristics. So let's talk about its name. Let's split it up. Okay, so we have pro, and then we have karyote. Okay, so pro means before. And then karyote means nucleus. When you put those together, you get before nucleus. And so scientists actually think that bacteria were, or prokaryotes were the first type of cell because they don't have a nucleus, and they are I guess simpler. So that's what they think. And they even think that like the mitochondria instead of our cells are even made up of, or actually it's called the Endosymbiotic Theory, where they think that a prokaryote was taken into the cell and then it became part of the cell. And they know this because of DNA that the mitochondria has, and because it has its own cellular membrane. But we're getting off topic here. But okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what makes a prokaryote a prokaryote. Okay, so like I said, there is no nucleus. Right? So there is no nucleus. And so the DNA is held in this nucleoid area. Nucleoid. And so this nucleoid is really a central place where DNA is held. And so there's one strand of DNA, one strand. While our cells have multiple strands. So let's go ahead and start to draw a simple picture of a prokaryote. So you'll have this prokaryote, sorry for my drawing, but you'll have this prokaryote that's in like a capsule type figure, and you'll have I'll have the nucleoid. So you have one big strand of DNA in the middle. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the rest. So there's one strand of DNA. This would be the DNA. Let's go ahead and label it. Sorry. Go ahead and label it. So this would be DNA. So that would be DNA. Okay, so now we have the nucleoid. So what else makes a prokaryote different? It doesn't have membrane-bound organelles. Bound. Membrane-bound. Let me just erase that. Ooh, way too big. No, too small. I'm just wasting time. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Okay, membrane-bound organelles. So what this means is like you don't have a membrane around the organelles. Now, a lot of the membranes inside of an actual cell, like our cell, the eukaryotic cell or animal cell as we call it, don't have membranes, but some of them actually do have membranes. Such as the mitochondria or the ribosome and stuff like that. They actually do have membranes. Okay, so another thing is that along with the DNA in the nucleoid, they also have DNA, extra pieces of DNA called plasmids. So this would be plasmids. And this can be used to reproduce, and any other types of extra DNA that they need, they'll have in there. So one of the main structures they have is the ribosome. All cells really need to have a ribosome because it makes proteins. And we'll talk more about this when we discuss the parts of the cell in a future video. So you'll have ribosomes. Let's see, we get a blue color and just add little dots everywhere. So these are all ribosomes, and so it'll go through the basic process of protein synthesis with transcription and translation. And again, we'll talk about that in another video because that's a whole different video that I could talk about. I could spend 30 minutes talking about that itself. Okay, so then we have, okay, so in the green we have the membrane. So in prokaryotes we have these, we actually have a cell wall, such as plant cells, but some of these, over the cell wall, they have this thing called chitin, or a capsule made up of chitin. Capsule made up of chitin. So you have a capsule. And so what the capsule and the cell wall really do is, like they just protect the cell from damage, or used to absorb things or hold on to things and stuff like that. And you can find better pictures than this. This is just a crude drawing of what a prokaryote looks like. And you might even have these things called pili. So these are little thingies like this, maybe all around the cell or something like that. And these increase, so you have pili. Sorry, let me go ahead and write it down. Pili. So these increase compartmentalization. Okay, mentalization. Okay, so what kind of compartmentalization is, it's like this whole process where we discuss why cells are small and stuff like that. And so so we might have like a square like this, that might have an area of 4, but then when we look at the perimeter of it, the actual area where things can come in and go out, we will notice that, it'll take far too long for something to go in and then go out. And that way, when we break up the squares into little segments, we can have more areas of, we'll make the distance for the substance to come in and come out shorter, and we can transport stuff and things like that. So that's what this is used for. So this is pili. It's also used for adhesion to stuff, maybe other cells, or whatever it needs to adhere to. Maybe it's food, and for absorbing stuff, things like that. And then last but not least, we have the flagella. So this is like this wave-like structure. It's more like a straight line. I should fix that. It's more like a straight line. It's a little bit wavy, actually. So let me go ahead and fix it. Okay, let's go ahead and fix that. So we have this wave-like structure like this. And what this is used for, this is called the flagella. So let's go ahead and write down what the flagella is. The flagella. So flagella is like the tail-like structure. Tail structure. You'll see I'll use a lot of abbreviations, but this is structure. Okay. It's a tail-like structure that allows the prokaryote, or the cell, the bacteria, to move. So it allows movement. So it allows movement. So what this thing will do is it'll wave around, and by using the proteins inside of it to move around, it'll move itself. I could spend a lot of time just talking about how this works, but just in a basic idea, all you need to know is that it allows the cell to move around. Okay, so I guess that's all I needed to talk about for prokaryotes. Let's go ahead and move on to eukaryotes. Yay. Oh, okay, we guess we reached the end there. End of the line. Ooh, wow, we have so much space here. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Alright, I guess we'll just use this. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about eukaryotes. So, eukaryotes. Okay, so what's special about eukaryotes? They're in us. So any cell you take out of our body is a eukaryotic cell. Well, I mean, other than, if you take out like E. coli or something like that, or bacteria, or viruses or something like that, in our cells. Other than that, they're all eukaryotic cells. So really, what is a eukaryotic cell? What makes it different? So a eukaryotic cell, other than, unlike a prokaryotic cell, has a nucleus. So it has a nucleus. This is very important. So let's go ahead and start drawing our structure. Let's go ahead and start this. Ooh, yay, I actually got the circle good. Okay. Alright, so the nucleus is in the center of the cell, and this is really I guess you can call it the brains of the cell. But, I would refrain from that. Okay, so we have the nucleus. And then this would be the nucleolus. And so the nucleolus is where like all the DNA is held, and the nucleus is where the DNA is held, but nucleolus is where ribosomes are made and stuff like that. And yeah, again, like I said, we'll talk about more in depth about all of these cell structures and stuff like that in a later video. So another difference is the fact that the eukaryotic cell sorry, I didn't need to write that, but eukaryotic cell has a lot more organelles. Oh yeah, one thing I should have mentioned earlier is the fact that prokaryotic cells actually do most of their see, they have a lot of their enzymes and stuff. So like, for example, the mitochondria in the eukaryotic cell, is the power center of the cell, is where the cellular respiration and all that stuff happens. And so what'll happen is the prokaryotic cell obviously doesn't have all of these structures, and so most of the reactions and stuff like that, or all of these most reactions and stuff will happen in the membrane itself. So it'll make, whatever ATP or whatever like that in the membrane while the glucose or whatever substance is coming in. So this will do most reactions in the membrane, most. Right, so most reactions are in the membrane. So unlike in eukaryotic cells, where there are a lot of structures inside of the cell that are doing all these metabolic pathways and whatever reactions and stuff like that inside the cell. So you'll have your ERs, and then my drawings are really bad, but you'll have your Golgi apparatus, like right here, something like that. And you'll have things pinching off of it. And then you'll have your vacuole. It's just a sac of stuff that holds something. And then you'll have like your ribosomes in the middle. You'll have your rough ER somewhere around here, with dots all over it. I mean, this is not an accurate drawing, but you get the point. There's a lot of structures in here that do stuff. So you'll have your mitochondria. You get the point, right? Like, there's a lot of structures that do a lot of stuff inside of a eukaryotic cell. And a lot of the stuff is split apart into different areas of the cell. So that allows the cell to, have certain the parts of the cell to have certain jobs, and it's a lot more complicated than a prokaryotic cell, and that's why they think that prokaryotes came first, because they are a lot simpler. And so eukaryotes are also in plants. So what's different about a plant cell? Well, first of all, they have cell walls. So what is a cell wall? It's the same thing as a prokaryotic cell. It's just a thing that it's a rigid structure that protects the cell from damage. It's a very rigid structure that does so. And the cell wall is made up of cellulose. And also another big structure inside of the cell, inside of a plant cell. Let me go ahead and draw a plant cell, I guess. That would be awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead. So it's going to be in like a square or rectangular box, and you'll have your... So this middle central thing is called the central vacuole. And this is just like the plant cell, or sorry, the animal cell, where it just stores stuff, I guess, all it does is store stuff, and everything else, basically, the nucleus, you'll have the nucleus somewhere around here, you'll have the ribosomes, you'll have your ER, everything is in the same place, except for, there is a huge storage facility inside of the cell, I guess you can say. Okay, so what's special about a animal cell? Well, they have centrioles. These things called centrioles. This is so not an accurate drawing. It's like a star shape, I guess, and it's like 3D. So that's what a centriole is. A centriole is used, it's just a thing of microtubules that are used in mitosis. So this is be the centriole. Again, we'll talk more about all of this. And I forgot to mention that the plant cell also has a cellular cell membrane here too, that, you know, allows diffusion and stuff like that. The cell wall is really cell wall. I forgot to label it cell wall, and then we'll have cell membrane. The cell wall is really just there to keep a rigid structure so that the cell doesn't lysis fast enough, because a lot of water is going to be stored in here. So a lot of water is going to be stored in here, and they don't want, the plant obviously doesn't want the cell to die by having it lysis. Okay, so now what's different about animal cells is the fact that the animal cell only has a cell membrane. So they only have cell membranes. And, you know, the cell membrane is used for transport, stuff like that. But this one disadvantage that comes with this is the fact that, you know, the animal cell can't hold as many things as a plant cell can, because they don't have that rigid structure that's holding them together. So yeah, those are your two types of cells. You know, it's really cool if you think about it. There are really two types of cells, you know. I mean, and we'll talk about viruses and stuff like that. You know, viruses technically aren't living according to the, well, there's a debate about it. They're debating that if it is actually living or not, but, I guess that's it. You know, I mean, this wasn't that long of a video, but I think it'll help a lot. Hopefully it does, at least. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can wait a couple of seconds and then hit it in the outro too. Make sure to follow me on my social media, I guess. Also, if you like the video, like it. You know, that'd be good too. And I'll have a video out every Monday and Wednesday. Yeah. And hopefully Friday if I can get a video up. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, again, like you can wait a couple of seconds or go into the description and tell me by filling out a Google form. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this helped. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.